Hi.
Are we recording?
Am I
Always.
Still?
Good morning.
Hi.
Yeah, welcome back to Tattoo Talk with
These
these
two
guys.
folks. Yeah.
Cat and Cat.
Nice. I'm kind of nervous for today.
I'm excited.
I'm excited, nervous. So Riley had this great idea that we were gonna go deep dive into our Instagrams, but basically we're just looking for tattoos that we did like when we first started our careers.
Yeah.
Just taking a snapshot back in the day. So what year did you start?
So according to my introduction, I started my apprenticeship at Ascension Inc. September 2016. And then my first post on like Instagram, I'm pretty sure a bunch are archived, but my first post of a tattoo was in 2017.
2017. I didn't think that I realized that you could archive until like 2 years ago when Riley showed me.
I think I archived between shops. And I chose the tattoos that I want to keep showing like my growth and my style.
Yeah.
But got rid of the stuff that was like, you know, just script and
Sure, like the more basic kind of.
the more basic tattoos.
Yeah, well, just like the stuff that you learn on and that you do all the time. That's, you know, whereas normally for social media, you want to highlight the more unique stuff and the stuff that you want to be getting like continuous work for. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with a little script tattoo, but it's not necessarily like your
It's a script tattoo.
pinned photo on Instagram.
No. When was your first post? Did we just...
My first post, I mean, like my actual first was 2014.
Damn.
Yeah, but when I think of things, I think of how many years it's been, not the year that it happened.
Yeah.
And because I'm dyslexic, but also, what's the version of dyslexia, but it's
Numbers.
Dyscalculus.
You have dyscalculus.
I have all three of them. The writing, that clearly I can't speak. All of them. It's great. But yeah, so I've been tattooing. I started when I was 17. I'm turning 32. So whatever that is.
15.
15 years? Gross. That's so fucking long.
Gross.
That's so long. That's so long. So my first tattoo was March 23rd, 2014. That's posted on here. But I was tattooing a couple years before that. But it's this infinity symbol.
Cumbrio? What is it?
I don't know. It's in another language. And then it's 5, which is really cool. So this was a client of mine, and there's 5 siblings. Like she's one of the 5 girls. It's all girls, and they're all musicians.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it's cool. So and I definitely did it in Toronto. What's your first tattoo post?
My first tattoo post is a traditional tooth I did on Sam.
Nice. Look at that whip shade. Like whip line.
So it wasn't my first tattoo. My first tattoo I did on myself is here on my thigh.
Which is...
This teacup with floral and stuff in it. Cool. And I look at it all the time. I'm like, oh, that line's so great. And I look back at it. I'm like, no, that was Sam pulled that line. This janky line is mine.
I didn't even do that line.
But yeah, no, I did a traditional tooth on Sam. And I think this was this is February. So September, October, November, December, January, February. So about 6 months into tattooing. And I remember like I was going to fucking quit. And
how many times have you said that through your career? I'm going to fucking quit.
Like every 6 to 8 months.
It's so funny how it's on rotation, eh?
It is on rotation, but that was like the first one that I thought was going to fucking kill me. And he's like, no, we're going to tattoo. We're going to do clean. We're going to take our time. And I'm still proud of that tooth. Like it's good. I mean, there's some issues with...
I think it's clean.
My haloing.
Yeah, the fade out of the red could have been softer, but that kind of abrupt finish is in that style.
Yeah.
Is that tried kind of style. It doesn't have this like inch of a fade out, you know,
No.
like that isn't necessarily reflective of that style. So I think that's pretty on point.
Yeah.
That goes cool. So another one, which is back in the day on Instagram when you would like crop things.
You create your panels.
You create a panel.
My next one's a panel too. This is cool.
Oh, the paneling. So this was a cover up. It's a really, really old anchor.
Oh,
Yeah, those who are listening on Spotify, maybe hop over to YouTube, but we're going to try our best to explain what we're seeing.
that's like a jail tat or a home hand poke covered
Definitely
by.
old. It was a jail tattoo. This is a client I met through like a friend when I was living down south, and I did a lot of cover work for him. But I'm very curious what this looks like today, because I mean I can see improvement in my work, like my shading in the background and stuff.
Yeah,
In the clouds and everything.
and that's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, but I'd already been tattooing for 5 years at that point.
Yeah.
So I think it should have been a bit more advanced for having been tattooing for 5 years. But here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Oh, so many panel shots. Oh, here's a bunch of traditional guys. So when I first started, because we had 2 realism artists at the shop, I was thrown into traditional. Obviously, I have no issue with that because we love her. But yeah, I feel like 6 months into tattooing.
Damn. This was one session. You did those 2 pieces?
Yeah,
Well done.
I think it was like an 8-hour day.
It's like on an elbow, too. That's hard.
Yeah, I really I leaned a lot into the like the anchors and the sailor style traditional work,
Cool. I love a thigh.
gypsies and stuff like that. That was my first leg sleeve. So I'm gonna keep that screenshot. But yeah, I did a leg sleeve in my first year.
You did a leg sleeve in your first year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And one client, I don't tattoo her anymore, but I actually think it was 2 leg sleeves because we had started with each thigh and then we filled
Damn.
hip to ankle and both legs. So over the 2 years that I was at Ascension, I don't think I tattooed her at Anna Peg, and then she definitely hasn't been here.
It's so neat. Like, I'm just thinking of all the people that, like, in your first few years that you tattooed, and a lot of them will still come to me, which is, I'm like, thank you. Like, that is some fucking loyalty. And
Yeah.
not loyalty in the sense that they don't get tattooed from other people. They definitely do. But it's like they're still coming back to me for those, a couple pieces here and there. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty sick.
Yeah, I was thinking that the other day because like Jenna had recently done their
Oh, the crown.
their Forget Me Not crown.
Yeah.
And previously to that, I had done like their throat and the side of their face.
Yeah.
But in my first 6 months of tattooing, I had already tattooed their face twice.
You tattooed a face that early?
Yeah, we did like a little question mark under this eye, and then we did a broken wishbone on the side of their cheek. And that was in 2016, 2017. And then it's so nice. They're like, yeah, tattoo the other side of my face this year. I'm like,
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
Hi.
for sticking around. Like, you stuck around since a time where, not to say I shouldn't have been tattooing that soon, I was so hungry to work that anyone who has stuck by me these past 8 years, I'm so freaking grateful for. But I also still stand by the whole, like, if I tattooed you at either one of those 2 shops and you hate the work I gave you, email the shop and I will fix it. I'm still stand by being like, I will fix that. I was thinking about that this morning where I was like, man, I wish, like, part of me is like, I don't want to see the work I did in my first couple of years, but also if I did tattoo you in my first couple of years and you hate it, I will gladly fix it. I know things now.
Yeah. It's also very, like, I think that we get in this almost like a monotonous of like, hey, continuing to go forward, continuing to grow and learn, but we don't take the time to be like, oh shit, like I can literally see improvement.
Oh, absolutely.
Pat on my back. Like, it's, as artists, we always try and be as humble as we can, because you see so many people where that just takes over and then your work plateaus or you just become not a very nice person.
I was going to say ego takes over.
Yeah. But it's, also finding that balance of like, oh, damn, I have improved in that regard, or I can literally see where I figured out shading, or it's like, time is a big one for me. Like stuff that used to take me 6 hours will take me maybe half of that or 4 hours sometimes. Like it's.
Yeah. Like I did a piece yesterday where when I first started would have taken me 6 hours and it took me an hour yesterday.
What?
I tattooed a black and gray dove.
Sick.
And like,
That's cool.
just
Like realism?
Yeah.
Soft realism? Yeah.
yeah.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
I was like, man, that would have taken me all day. And then he's like cashing out, and I go to check my phone after I took the photo, and I was like, ooh, it's 1:30.
Wow.
What do I do with the rest of my day?
Yeah, but I find I don't know if it's just no, it can't just be realism. I think it's any style when you have the confidence to go for it. Like if I were to be starting a new style today, even though I have all that experience, it would still take me way longer than realism.
Oh, for sure.
But because now I think I'm assuming that because you'd done trad for so long and you'd started realism a few years ago, but even just in that few years of doing realism, the time has
faster.
jumped a lot. But had you started realism way back when you did trad, it'd probably be even that much quicker.
Oh, I'd be doing it with my eyes closed.
like it's all of that comfortability of the technique and the confidence of,
Yeah.
okay, like I know how to do that. I've done that how many times?
Exactly.
I have like some line work. Look at that skull.
Bless me. Sorry.
This is like a...
Whoa.
I know. I'm shocked myself. I haven't looked back here since that client creeped me while I was tattooing them. Like, it's been a minute.
That's some line work. That's thick.
Yeah, that
Did
was
you
like a shader.
Okay, I was gonna say, did you use a shader? Did you double up on your lines, or were you just like fucking 14 round liner bloomed?
No, it
Damn.
was definitely a shader. I think it was a 14 round shader, and then I did whatever liner
7 or a 9.
skull PC here. Yeah, that's definitely on a thigh. And it did get finished. It got filled in, but wow, I have me baking cookies in here. Like this was clearly also my personal.
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything.
My goodness.
Oh, I'm excited for this next one too. Okay, what do you got?
Ooh, I've got one where I like pulled away from doing just traditional and started doing things without hard lines. So this is on our client Taylor, who we're doing that like horror blackout work on. So this is now blacked over. She has a blackout sleeve now.
Really? That looks cool though.
But yeah, that was in 2017.
That green is fierce. Like that's like
It was so much
fiery
fun.
ass
It
green.
was from Zelda,
What's Zelda?
a video game. I don't know. It's some sort of.
Is that, I don't know.
Like Link?
Link?
Well, it's a skull with like bat wings on its head. Link and like, what's the princess? Princess
Lex.
Zelda is the princess?
Lex is smiling so hard. What's Zelda?
It's a game.
It's a game, like a video game.
A video game.
Zelda's the woman.
He's like
We should play it.
12 years and he's blonde and he has a green hat. He's also in Mario Party and stuff.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, that was like, I think that was my first piece that wasn't like traditional, and I was playing around with like tattooing without lines. She said it lasted a number of years, but then now she's like took her turn with her style,
Yeah.
and
I like the color aspect of it, like the color realism, because that's fucking hard. For
Yeah.
me, doing color realism, like color shading like that, I find it so hard not to overwork the skin because you're overlapping so much with the colors.
yeah, it's definitely a matter of like paying attention to like the amount of passes you do, and like light colors. Just trust that it's there, even
Yeah,
though you don't see the color, and you're like, if all you see is like sebum and plasma and blood, you've
Yeah.
overworked it. Or just like trust that the color is going to show up the next day. And back then we weren't using like Bactine and letting the skin sit for a while and letting the colors pull through. Where now I'm like, give it 15 minutes, I'll come back and check on you. Ta-da! It's yellow.
Right.
Like,
Right.
You know? Yeah.
Do you want to explain people who are listening that like why that is? Because like you don't see the color show up right away because of how the skin's reacting.
Because of
to
how the skin's reacting.
Yeah.
So your skin is swelling and it's turning red because of the amount of like trauma, as well as if you're using a lighter pigment, your yellows, your lime greens, your whites are being overpowered by the color of your blood.
Yes.
So
It doesn't show up right away. So a lot of the times when you're new into tattooing, you can kind of panic and be like, oh shit, like maybe I wasn't as saturated as I thought I was. So then these young artists will go back in, but then
Yeah.
you're actually damaging the skin.
turning it to ground beef.
So that's what Kat, saying, like, you really got to trust it. That's kind of
You're like
what we're talking about.
Yeah, you literally treat your light tones the same way you would your solid black. So you do your single pass, you do your tight circles, or do your whip. If you don't see the color, it's there.
Yeah.
It's there. Give it some time. and just try not to overwork. I mean, I'm sure I overworked some people's skin in the beginning, but I mean, that's just part of the learning process. And again, thank you.
Well, absolutely. And that's also, I mean, that's kind of part of you're paying less because you're going to someone who's just starting out. That's
Yeah.
kind of, the trade-off a little bit. And obviously you train people the best you can, but you're going to have kind of ebbs and flows of learning curves.
Yeah.
And thankfully we have people who are trusting and they're like, fuck yeah, I want to be a part of your learning experience. And you're
Yeah.
like, thank you, because I would not be where I am without having those
Exactly.
guinea pig in quotation clients, right?
People love being guinea pigs though. They'll do anything for a free tattoo or anything under $100. Like I did my first almost 2 years, 60 to 80 bucks, maybe $100. And I was like, cool, I'm taking home $15 to $20. Thank you. You bought me a new bottle of ink.
Nailed it. Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I can remember when I first started doing portraits, I was like, oh fuck, like obviously you can mess up pretty easily on a portrait.
Oh, for sure.
So I used to do them like pretty much for free for friends or for like very, very cheap because I just wanted to figure out how to do them so bad. And yeah, there was like definitely a good chunk of time there where I was just anyone that would let me.
Do you have a portrait to show me?
That's the next one.
Give me.
Yeah. So this was on my shop on Albert above a hair salon. This is on a tattooer that you and I both know. It's covered up now. I think he covered it up a long time ago. But this was in 2015. This was before he tattooed. But yeah, look at that hair.
Your portrait work is so different now.
Yeah.
Like this is definitely almost like a lino cut, like screen printed portrait.
Yes. Yeah.
Where now you use your gradients where like I'm pretty sure all your pigments are less than 50% black, where this is like
It's very high contrast.
25,
There's been
50, 80, 100% black.
Yeah, for a long time I was rocking probably 6 different ink cups, if not more, of gradients. Like, and it was all like super light, right?
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, like here there's basically no shading. It's like you're saying, it's like a screen print. Like it's very high dark contrast.
I mean, it's still cool. I mean, I know of so many artists that do their portrait work like that, but to see you do a heavy and dark portrait piece like that with even like where you would do like your 5% gray wash to get the tone and the shape of the face like that, it's not there is wild to see.
You know, so that was one of my, if not my very first portrait that I ever did.
And that was back here, like, were you visiting? Were you still
so
working?
I was still living here. That was before I'd moved to Toronto. So 2015. Does that make sense? 2015.
Because you moved back when I was kind of in my second year, so 2017. Were you back and forth at all?
Oh, wow, that doesn't make sense at all. 2015.
Posted it later. You might have just posted it when you were in Toronto. You might have done.
I think I did this in like 2009 or 2009.
Damn.
Like I think it was like because it was. I'm pretty sure it was like when I was like 18. It was before I moved to Toronto.
Oh, because you were getting help from another artist in town. Kind of.
Not really. Like Drew McBride showed me the rope. Like that's how I got into tattooing. He was the one that was like, he saw that I could draw and he was like, I think you should try tattooing. And he gave me basically like a crash course and then I like went off on my own.
Yeah.
And then so I was here for about a year and a half before I moved to Toronto. Cause then I was
Okay,
finally
cool.
like, I'm shit. Like I need to move. Like,
Because
I
you were
need to
there
get
for how
trained.
long? Almost 5 years?
In Toronto?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was in Toronto for, over 5 years. And then we've been home now for what, 7? Been home now for 7 years?
5, 6. It'll be 7 years in August.
Yeah. Yeah, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, so I
Wild.
think Riley's right. I think I had posted this after the fact, like once I had,
I like that.
had Instagram. But anyhow, that doesn't really matter when it was done, but
I like it.
yeah. Oh, here we go. Hashtag Throwback Thursday. First portrait on skin, John Lennon. So it was a Throwback Thursday. We figured it out.
TBT, baby.
TBT. We should bring that back. I'm going to do it. Is it Thursday?
I was going to say bring back Woman Crush Wednesdays.
Crush Mondays.
Again, haven't heard of this.
What?
I
On Mondays?
rock sometimes.
That was the same era. Yeah, you do your Man Crush Monday, and you'd post either your celebrity or the boys in your life.
Oh,
where you're like,
no, I
my Man
remember
Crush
this.
Monday, and then
Yes.
your Woman Crush Wednesday. I did it every Wednesday. I was like, these women need time on my platform.
You edited your photos in the app.
Yeah.
In the app
4
edits.
likes and you posted 600 times a day.
Oh my goodness.
There's my first face tattoo. There's Jenna.
Those eyebrows are fresh. Okay, I remember looking at this piece when they were here not long ago, and it's clean.
It held up.
Like-
I think that was my first time using something because when I first started tattooing, I didn't use a single needle any smaller than like a 9-round liner.
Whoa.
So I think that was my first attempt at using something. So November 2017, so a little over a year into my career, I was like, let's try something new. I think it might have been a 3 or a 5. And it's held up. Like, I
Yeah,
like the
it
way
looks
it
good.
settled into their skin. Like, yeah. Yeah.
I didn't tattoo a face until I tattooed Bree's barbed wire beside her ear.
Oh, and that
what
was when I
that?
started working here. So 2020, 2021.
2021. I think it was during the pandemic, wasn't it?
It must have been.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I've been doing faces longer than you.
Oh, fuck yeah. I was like hell bent that I would never tattoo a face. And not out of like but like it just scared me. I was like, I don't think that
It's such nice skin though.
I didn't know. I didn't think it would be. I thought it would blow out and I'd be like, I'm going to fuck up someone's face. Like for whatever reason, I'd be like, yeah, I'll tattoo a portrait, but tattooing someone's face, I'd say no. Like it was such a weird.
I would faster tattoo another face than someone be like, can you tattoo my baby?
Yeah.
No.
It's strange how we work like that, eh? Like there's certain things that we have
Confident in.
comfortability with. Yeah, yeah. And then other things that you're like, this seems almost, it doesn't matter what it is, but for some reason, yeah, the idea of tattooing a face was very scary. And I don't think that I've tattooed another face. I'm pretty sure I've only done that one. Right? I don't think I've tattooed another face. No.
I'm next.
Yeah. What are you going to do
I want to do Lorelei's name above my eyebrow in like bubblegum pink.
Cool.
So it can still be covered with makeup if I want to. And,
Yeah.
you know,
That'd be cool. On this eyebrow, so it's reading this way, not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. So, yeah, there, Kat's right eyebrow.
yeah,
Sick. Mm-hmm. Was it my turn? No.
it's your turn.
Yeah,
Show me
good
something
idea.
else.
Show me something else. There's a lot of drawing on here. Not that that's what we're talking about, but like I really got into.
You were really
Sketching.
doing a lot of drawing.
For sure. We have a sternum here from 2015.
Oof.
Yeah, and then another. Look how clean that is. Good for me.
Good for you and those
Right? And
lines.
those are ribs.
Those are ribs.
That's ribs. So this is a music note. On some ribs. Yeah. That is honestly
Dang.
good job, Katrina.
Good job.
Yeah. So that's what I had next.
I'm skipping past my Ascension days into when I first met you,
Nice.
my first tattoo convention.
Okay.
So that was I had been working at Anapeg. I started working there in March 2018. And my first convention was April.
Okay.
So I'd been at Anapeg for less than a month. So I'm going to screenshot this one because Christy was an amazing client. And my pug.
that yeah.
My
I
pug.
love that piece. That's cool.
Yeah. Still just loving that traditional, eh?
Chrissy, they're like the rockabilly kind of aesthetic. I think I know who this is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Married to Albanone.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, I definitely kept strong with the traditional the first like 2 years. And then after that, I slowly started getting into black work because I really started getting into just drawing organic, all the florals.
Now, why do you think that's a coincidence that you would change shops and that started, or it just kind of?
Yeah, everyone had gone their separate ways. And then when I moved over, I think I was just like literally sitting in like I'd finish my like infinity symbol or script or tiny little floral piece for the day. And then I'd go and I'd park my ass in Shalane's room and watch her work.
Nice.
And she's primarily color portraiture, black and gray portraiture. And just like a lot of like the new schooly kind of designs, I guess.
She does a lot of things very well.
Yeah, I mean, when you've been in the business almost 40 years, you kind of
Fair enough.
have your hand in every style. So I think it was, getting to just see other styles outside of just me knowing traditional tattooing and having like studied it and stuff. And then being around two guys that just did black and gray.
Right.
To see someone else venture off and literally do every style thrown at them, I was like, oh, I can do other styles.
Right.
So then that's when I got into more of like just drawing organically and trying something new.
The inspiration with being around different artists is so helpful.
Oh, for sure.
Like going from tattooing by myself here to then having you here to then having people who are apprenticing and having a guest artist or whatever. Like, you know, even apprentices, it's like seeing it through their eyes and how hungry they are and from a fresh lens, because we're so, or me anyhow, like so stuck in your way of like, this is how I learned it and this is how I do it. And then you see someone who's looking at it for the first time and they are like, oh, what about this? Or like, are asking you questions. And you're like, I've never even thought of it like that.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
and to see their style and, yeah, just, I don't know. I love being around other creatives, not
Yeah.
even just tattooing, but like Riley being a photographer and all the other art that, you know, like it's very
Neat
helpful.
though, especially with like even doing something like we can teach you how to do like pack solid black, but then have them turn around one day and be like, okay, well, like that works, but also like, have you tried it this way? I'm like, no.
And just actually really big on that, where, you know, like they'll go do research on their own and like whether it's like deep diving into another artist that's like, you know, famous on social media or like on YouTube or something,
Yeah.
and being like, I think they do it like this, and I tried it and look, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh shit, like I didn't even
Would not have thought to do that.
No.
Thank you for teaching me something.
Thank you.
Yeah, love it.
Absolutely.
Love
so
it.
I think that's really cool. Now, I'm going to show you two pieces. So we have this one, which is done on Jess Mitchell. She's lovely.
Okay,
and
I was
lot
like,
of
why do I
tattoos.
recognize
Yes.
this?
So this piece, which a lot of her stuff has like the line work around it. So it's florals, it's realism, but you can tell that I'm still lining out my realism.
Yeah.
So every petal would have a line around it. Whereas then my next post, this is when I started at Pudmeg. See the difference? So we go from this more of like a stylized realism, almost like illustrated realism,
But I
right?
feel like that was the kind of the thing at the time when you're first learning, is like everything had to have a line, even if you were doing realism, whether you were like gray lining, ghost lining, or like just so that the tattoo wouldn't fall out, right? Because it was ingrained in your brain that if the tattoo didn't have a line around it, it was going to disappear.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, no, as long as you have your contrast correct, it'll fucking stay.
Yes.
And it's just one of those things where you have to get over that hump of that like old school mentality that tattoos have lines. Where now, it's just, I love that. I love
It's
seeing
cool
the
to see that,
progression in
right?
6 posts.
Yeah, oh, it's nuts. Like that huge jump. And that was one of the first things I remember being so like hit by. And I was like, that's so profound to be watching this artist who's so incredible, Luis Pudmeg, and to see him work and be like, you don't have to line that out. You don't have to ghost line that.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, well, when you draw, you don't. And I'm like, oh. True. Because you're looking at something in real life, like even if I'm looking at my hand in front of me,
Where's the fucking outline?
there's
Katrina?
that's exactly it. And I'm looking at like a drop shadow from my ring, for example. And I'm like, the line looks like it's there in quotations, but it's actually not. It's just the dark contrast against the highlight. So if I can do that into realism, and I remember just having this like aha moment and being like, holy fuck. And then that's when I really started to see a big shift in my work.
Yeah.
And see it actually look more 3-dimensional. And
I love that. I love that that's literally a separation of like 6 posts.
yeah.
And like, if I didn't know that was on Jess and I hadn't seen it before, I would have thought that was like Alex's work.
Okay. Yeah. More black work style.
Black work style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we get real into realism. What's your next?
Just so much traditional. I want to pull away from the traditional for a second. I did so like heavy line work, lots of color. I want to see if there's a post where I started getting into literally just doing my own organic like floral work. Is this one?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Okay,
Is
this
it
was
a
it.
poppy or a wildflower? At the bottom, those are really pretty.
That is like wild rose or like meadow rose and probably a peony because it was a point in my life where I felt everybody needed peonies.
Same.
Yeah. Okay, so that's when I got into my black work with like stipple shade. So I really got into the stipple shade in like
Even that the leaf is beautiful, like the contrast. Nice, cool.
Yeah. So I really got into like the black to white contrast and stipple work. And then from what year was that? So like 2018 until I came here. Even still, I still do stipple work, but I do it with like a single needle now. But I used to do like a round shader stipple work for those like almost 2 years where I was like, everyone's getting stippled tattoo.
When you learn a new style and that's all you want to do, so it's like, oh, I've learned stippling, everyone's getting stippling. I've learned this drip effect where I now know how to make a like watermark, like a little droplet of water. Every flower is getting a droplet of water. Like it was, I can see progression through my work where I figured out a style and then that's like what I honed in on. And I'm like, this is what you're getting.
This is what you're getting. I know you had an idea when you came in today, but I've been trying this thing and that's what you're getting.
If you're open to it, I'd really like to. Thank you so much. So yeah, so once, we had that kind of more realism one, and then you can really see that I jump in like full force and they have these butterflies and there's a
butterflies
drop shadow,
with the drop shadow.
Right? But I can remember this piece in particular, this rose.
Yeah.
Luis stood behind me the entire thing. I'm sweating.
Fuck off.
He was really good. Like
I would die.
No, I was fucking sweating. And this guy is a very large, extremely tattooed, buff dude.
Yeah.
Sweetheart, but like very intimidating and a massive language barrier. He was from Ecuador. At this point, he barely spoke English.
Yeah.
And he's just standing behind me and there's like no sugarcoating it. He's like, that bad. No. And he's like correcting me and I'm like, okay, thank you. And I'm fucking shitting myself. But it was like a friend of a friend who I was tattooing. So I felt comfortable with them.
Yeah.
But he was just like tearing me apart.
Good.
But it worked. Because like looking at that, I can remember at the top I went to go kind of like ghost line it in and he's like, you don't need to do that. And I'm like, well, I'm going to lose my stencil. And he's like, are you not an artist? And I was like, oh my God, okay, I'm going to puke.
Sorry, senor.
Sorry. So sorry. You're right.
You're right. I'm wrong.
That was like the biggest shift was when I went over and was working with like real realism artists, because just seeing how they did it and being like, okay, I'm fucking terrible. I need to be better and like
You're not fucking terrible. You're learning.
But you know what I mean? But it's like,
yeah,
for that's how it works for me. Everyone's different, and like that self-deprecating where I'm like, I am terrible and like I need to get better and like feeling like shit pushes me so much.
Oh, for sure.
So when I surround myself with people, like when I went in just a couple weeks ago when I was working in Toronto, I was like, I absolutely am terrible. And then it made me like so hungry to want to get better.
Yeah.
You need that humbling, or I do anyways. Like everyone's different.
I like it too, but that's also the same thing where I'm like, let's bring in different artists. Let's have other people. Even when Vanessa was here for like she was here for 2 days before, and I was like, how are you doing that? And then she's coming back again, and I'm going to be like,
the amount that she works with little ass needles, I'm like, yo.
Yeah, I've never seen any like massive pieces.
Yes.
Teeny tiny round shaders.
Yeah. Like for like the whole thing. I'm like, that's
nuts. It's like she's tattooing just with like a graphite pencil. I'm like, I understand that controlled focus, but damn, that's a long area. You're going to be there forever. It's like, yeah, this might take me about 10 hours, and then I will put a couple more hours in tomorrow. I'm like, she has 10 hours.
Coming back, she's like,
I need 10 hours.
This time, but I need 10 hours.
I can't work 10 hours.
She's like, that's if they don't take breaks. I'm like,
all right, we're starting at 8 a.m. then? Like, hey, I mean, obviously we'll accommodate. Like,
absolutely will accommodate, but like, damn, I want to be standing over her shoulder and just like breathing down her neck and being like, how are you doing that?
That's impressive.
But it's like, she also wasn't an artist when she started tattooing. Her brother taught her.
Right. And he's like very, very talented.
And all the artists at their shop are incredibly talented. Like Josh had done Chris's hand portraits.
Oh, those are so good.
Yeah. So like the Stabby shop, what is their shop? Stabby's Tattoo in Toronto. Man, like every single artist there has a ridiculous eye for detail, and just like light and dark contrast is beautiful. And they fucking work. They work. And I'm like,
Respect.
But also like, damn.
I lose focus. I lose energy. My eyes start hurting. I can tell that my quality of work is going to start depleting if I'm working more than 6-7 hours. Like
That's fair.
And it's also, I don't think, in my opinion, for the way that I tattoo, it's best for the skin, because the healing, it's not going to heal as good as if I break it into 2 sessions.
That's fair. And I get that. I'm the same way. Like my focus is 4 to 5 hours at best. My day starts at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And that's just on parenting and just living life. So
Yeah.
it's the same thing when we do large scale paintings. Like we're not putting 100 hours into a painting in the first 4 days we do the painting. We're doing 100 hours over 2 months.
Exactly.
You're just giving it the time that you can and the best work you can in that time.
With painting, even more so, when I start to get frustrated, I walk away and then I come back in 10 minutes.
You can't do that with tattooing.
can't.
So that's why I like being able to like tell people straight up, yeah, you want this whole sleeve, you want a color, that's going to be like 12 sessions. And that's not because it takes 12 sessions going to any artist you want to. It's going to take 12 sessions with me if you want me to do it to the best of my ability. Could be 8, could be 6, but if we're adding that color in there, we'll just accept the fact that we have to add more time for it to look the way we want it to look in the end.
Yeah. What do you got next?
Me going into like my first bit of love with Neotrad and designing. So that's the original design.
Cool. So did you design that on Procreate?
Yeah. So when I first started tattooing, I was obviously on paper and hand bombing stencils. And then I think it was about 2018, just before I moved to Anipeg, I got my iPad. But I did not have an Apple Pen. I was using one of those cushy end styluses
I don't think I
to do all my drawing. Oh, it's literally like the original stylus, or it looks like a pen and it's got like a rubber end on it.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was using to do my drawing. So like that was my first delve into like Neotrad and doing custom designs.
Cool. I love the blue. What throws me off is how green the walls are there. I feel like it'd be really hard to color match because you're constantly having
Everything
this
looks
green
sick.
reflection. The leg, like the person's skin looks like a green tinge to it. So I feel like that would be challenging.
Everything was kind of sickly looking. I get it. Green's your color. Their walls are yellow now. Fantastic. But it's something about that. Yeah, my entire feed from those like 2 years there, everything had like a yellowy green wash to it, and I wish it didn't. Like there was a point where I was like photographing people against the wall that I covered in like white pages of flash just so that I can get the light to bounce.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like. I was in between like the hard line stipple work and really doing like pop art Neotrad.
That's so cool. Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like trash polka a little bit.
Yeah,
like
a little. It's very pop arty.
pop art is a better way of describing it.
Yeah, I really got into that kind of stuff.
So creative.
It was fun.
Yeah, that's so creative.
But then I also got into realism there because I was sitting and watching Shalane all the time.
Right.
So like this was like my first realism piece, and I don't know why I decided to go for black and gray and color.
Gesundheit.
Yeah, black and gray and color, but I did it.
Cool.
So that was my first realism piece I attempted was in 2019.
So you did that all in one day with the color and so this is a lion or a cheetah. What was that again?
It was a spotted leopard.
Spotted leopard. Nice.
Yeah.
More people get leopards, please. Leopards are fun.
Leopards
I
are
think I've only
fun. There's
done
so
a
much.
handful.
There's so much detail.
Yeah, let's do more leopards. Okay.
More leopard tattoos.
Thanks, friends.
Show me something else.
Show you something else. So we have that rose piece, and then if we're scrolling up, you can really see the realism kind of come to life. So we have this little like rip through the skin, but I'll show this.
Is that a loon?
It's a loon. This is on my grade 8 teacher. She flew to Toronto to get a half sleeve from me. She came 3 different times. She's now the superintendent of the school board.
It still floors me seeing you do dark work. That's sick. Look at you
Cool, eh?
using 100% black.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So, you can see I have my little ink tag.
Hood mag.
Yeah, I think they actually are a different name now.
Hood mag Inkpire.
Inkpire instead of custom ink. Yeah, but yeah, like that loon, I can remember. Like look how much like detail there is in the back of the wings and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because who I was working with at the time, like that was more reflective of his style. And we can scroll up, we can see the finished kind of piece. But his style was very much of that heavier, dark work. So I was a lot of the time being obviously influenced by who I was around.
Absolutely.
Whereas now my style, yeah, it's a bit setter. It's a bit, set and softer and kind of set into the skin. When people ask me to do darker, I'm pumped to do it. Like that portrait that that sleeve act, rather, I've been working on it's the portrait, and then it has the architecture above it that's all blacked out. I think that looks really cool with the light style like in front of it. It gives it a lot of depth.
Yeah, I like seeing you kind of flop between the two now. Because
Yeah.
before, for like the last 4 years, mostly it was just like your very light, soft portrait style. And then, yeah, you've got clients like, what's his name? Taryn?
Yeah.
Being like, I want a full black Gothic cathedral on my
Yes.
stomach. And you're like, okay, I'm going to do full black then.
Yeah. So I mean, I can do it. I just when I think of like the portrait of Lorelei, you know, on
On Chris's stomach.
and Chris's stomach, like that's like my favorite stuff, like that softer light realism,
Yeah.
and it still holds up, but it looks just like so soft. I think it's I really like that. But I'm happy to go dark when requested.
Love it. Did you screenshot those?
I did screenshot those so we can kind of pop those up. I'm almost thinking we could do this into 2 different podcasts because
Absolutely.
I'm not even halfway and it's already Riley's. How far are we?
Like 40 minutes.
Yeah, so we can definitely do this into 2 podcasts because I'm not even halfway through my Instagram, which is fun.
I must have archived a ton of things because I'm not seeing much now, but because it's all the same. Ooh, there's a little bit.
Ooh, look at this piece.
Ooh, hello, Jen.
like
Jen
it.
used to get tattooed by me all the time. I think she's just been busy, but like,
Oh, cool.
very cool.
Well, that's neat. Where is this on the body? Is this a leg or an arm? An arm?
Bottom of the arm, just underneath the ditch. Yeah, because there's like a death moth on the hinge.
Okay.
And then the top. Oh, there's the death moth.
Beautiful.
And then this was like the top of the arm. So when I really started pushing into like dark realism, a skull and a crown, roses. But my thing, I love seeing it now, is like when I started getting into realism and playing around with it, why did I have to pack so much white into everything? I didn't
Okay.
learn about negative space.
Yes.
And I was like, so there's a little bit of space, but there needs to be ink there. So let's throw in a ton of white to give
Yes.
that highlight.
I think you'll see most artists go through that phase.
Yeah.
And I think it's the transition of there needs to be ink on the entire piece.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, I have to put white here when really it can just be the skin tone coming
Yeah.
through. That
It's
like you're saying,
definitely
negative
like
space.
almost a solid year of every single time there was negative space in the skin. I was like, there needs to be ink there. Highlight.
Here we go.
Here we go. You're getting a couple white dots there to give it a little zhuzh, you know?
Little
But I love all of it. Like even going back when like from our first post like at Ascension, I'm looking at it going, fuck, I love tattooing.
Yeah.
I've always fucking loved tattooing.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like pat myself on the back where I'm like, damn, I thought that was shit. And I look back at it now and I'm like, that was actually fucking good considering how little time I was on skin and how little I knew, that I just fucking threw myself into it and I haven't looked back.
I'm enjoying this. This is cool.
I love her.
This is fun. I haven't gone back and looked at everything and like actually from like an artistic lens, like I've scrolled through or whatever, maybe like once every couple of years, but yeah, it's very neat to see the transition and the journey. And I think it's like almost something that we should do like quarterly and all like critique each other's work too, which I think is very,
Yeah, that was my favorite
so
thing about art
beneficial.
school. It was like every second week, everyone would just like, you'd throw your stuff up on not the whiteboard. The fuck is that called? On the projector.
Yeah.
And everyone in the room had to say something about the piece that was on the screen.
Wow.
And I love that kind of stuff because like how else are you going to learn if you're not being told what you're doing wrong, where you can excel, what is like your standout point of a specific piece. I like that. I like it.
I wonder if we were to start doing that when we do like our little meetings.
We could.
We do.
Like 15-minute critique of each other's work.
Yeah.
Be like, this was your worst work the last couple of weeks. This is your best work.
Yeah.
Find a happy medium.
Yeah.
Tear me to shreds. Do it.
We also just cry.
Cry. You know what? I'd rather hear it from you guys than like the random Google
100%.
review.
Yeah. I'm trying to, it's funny because then I think and I'm like, there hasn't been any work that I would be like, oh, this needs improving on for you because you've been tattooing for so long. Like there's definitely stuff where I'm like, fuck, Kat, that was sick because it's innovative and it's creative. And I'm seeing you dive into like neo-trad hard right now, which I think is really dope. And like, it's more of that lens where like you get a cool request and I'm like, oh, that looks sick. But there hasn't been a time where I walk by and I was like,
What the
Kat.
fuck are you doing?
I think I would have said something and been like,
Thank you.
what happened?
Please say something. If you ever see me doing something and you're like,
Oh, same.
what is the thought process there and why are you continuing? Please
Yeah.
tell me. Oh God, please tell
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. But I mean, apprentices and juniors, like there's going to be days where, you're like, oh, next time, instead of having them lay like that, have them lay like this. I saw you and you look like you're breaking your neck. Do it like this. So there's definitely moments where I see stuff and like in those types of situations where we say stuff.
It's just
we're
like
looking-
Lex's guilty
Yes.
face. Just,
Yeah, Lex is sitting in on the podcast watching and
Oops.
you can, yeah.
yeah.
It's okay. No, it's not, because when you get to like where
Babe, I kayaked for an hour yesterday and then it took me an hour and a half to get out of bed. And now I have to tattoo after this. I'm not okay.
Yeah.
You need to take care of your back.
it's of course you want to do the best tattoo possible, but you also want to have longevity. So if your body's broken a year into tattooing, imagine 10, 15, 30 years in. You're not going to be able to do what you want to do if you don't
Take your drugs.
off.
We have a meeting now.
We have a meeting now. Is the person here?
I don't know, but
day.
it's 11 a.m.
Bye.
So that's part one of this because
Yeah.
I'm like 6 photos away from my move to DTC.
This is exciting. I think this was a great idea, Riley. Thank you.
Thanks,
well done.
buddy.
Well done.
Decided in my morning anxiety.
Yeah, we love morning anxiety.
Hey.
It comes up with creative ideas.
It can. It's problem solves.
Okay, well, thank you.
Bye.
We'll see you again.